Welcome back, viewers. It's good to be here again. Today we're right into a hot area of what's going on in the world. We're dealing with Donald Trump, which is really the whole basis of the book, Donald Trump, God's Restrainer on the White Horse. Where we're up to today, we want to deal with initially evidence that Donald Trump is God appointed. And we're going to deal with the sevens that come up in relation to his life, his birthdays, and just events that occur throughout his life. And I think, in fact, there's a lot in the book. There's some of them we'll touch on. There's other ones that we're going to touch on which are not in the book. We've actually, probably in total, there's well over 16 with these sevens. And we keep on finding more and more and more. So we're actually not, we're going to touch on a couple that are in the book, but maybe a few new ones that people may not have come across, because I do know that a few of the other ones people had heard, but there are some in the book which I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't have heard yet. But we might just kick off with you, Murray.
So what is the whole point of the sevens, Leo?
Well, I suppose if we look at Daniel, it's really, Daniel's all based around sevens, and God uses sevens extensively throughout the Bible. And if we
It's
look,
like his number, isn't it?
it's his number. Yep, and it's so important. And when we're looking at Daniel, it's 77s. And then when we look at Donald Trump and all the sevens, you can only look at it as being running in parallel with the book of Daniel. We're not saying that Donald Trump's birthdays and other things like that are in the prophecy of Daniel. They're not. However, there is a linkage there, linkage to the definitely to Jerusalem all the way through. There's a linkage to his birthdays and the presidency, and there's many other events which overlap Jerusalem, Israel, the United States, and pretty much the world, actually. It's just incredible. So I just think that it's something that's worthwhile doing, because the odds of these happening it is absolutely beyond near certainty. The odds are so high to have all these sevens appearing in somebody's life that you've got to look at it and know that Donald Trump is appointed divinely by God. That's the only way you can look at it.
Yep. I'll give a couple of the sevens.
Give a couple of them, if you could, and we'll just work through.
There's a lot, but here's a few. On January the 20th, 2017, Trump's full day as president, he was 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days old. Born June 14, 1946, from June 14, 1946 to June 14, 2016 is 70 years. To January 14, 2017 is 7 months. And to January 20, some count the full day as the 7th, a prophetic stretch. This aligns with the Jewish year 5777. God's perfect timing. As Donald Trump, God's restrainer, suggests, this marks him to hold back chaos before 2029's tribulation. Churches, are you seeing the signs?
That's a good point.
There's some of the sevens. There's a list.
That's huge, just in its own right. I mean, the odds of that occurring are just remarkable.
70 years, 7 months, and 7 days. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And Murray, just another one, or several others, which overlaps with his presidency when he became the president, when he finished his role as president, and then, of course, became president again, and actually the date in the future when he will cease to be the president. If you work backwards, and you start off using the 14th of June, and let's say in 2009, and adding 7 years to it, and actually working it out to the actual date, you'll come to exactly 2,777 days. That's on each of those 4 occasions. When he became the president in 2017, he was inaugurated. When he ceased to be president in 2021 on the 20th of January. When he became president again on the 20th of January 2025. And when he ceases to be president again on the 20th of January 2029. Each of those periods of time from his birthday, if you go back just over 7 years, is 2,777 days. I mean, once you've got that sequence, it's going to always slot in there. But just the fact of having that number there is just amazing. It's just incredible. So it just tops it up perfectly. So that's just another one of the exciting things. It just pops up. All these things just pop up, and then we've got these other ones here, Murray. You might like to do
this. Is actually the paragraph in the book Donald Trump that I really like. The chapter 7, the sevens.
Yeah, well, I think we all do actually, and it's just the odds of it not being divine are just unbelievable.
So Trump's election on November the 8th, 2016, fell on the 7th year, 7th month and 7th full day of Netanyahu's term, starting April the 1st, 2009. This divine sync between leaders tied to Israel hints at White Horse prophecy. A last warning. As restrainer, Trump's rise aligns with 2 Thessalonians 2:7. That's 2 Thessalonians 2:7. Holding back the lawless one. Get that, people. Read it. 2 Thessalonians 2:7. Holding back the lawless one. Wake up, church. This is no coincidence.
It's very interesting, really, isn't it, Murray? Just the interesting thing about that particular verse, and I think most of us, or most people watching, and including myself, when I was studying it, always thought it was the Holy Spirit was the restrainer, and when that restrainer was removed, that was all things going to change. But we look at it
was the rapture.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I that's what I thought too. But when you look at this, if Trump is removed as a restrainer, that's not actually one of the same things. So I think that if people looked all of a sudden and said, well, okay, there's going to be a rapture, let's say on the 20th of January 2029, when Donald Trump ceases to be the President of the United States, I think that is going to be possibly a big disappointment. It could happen, but it could be disappointing. But I think that he is removed, and there will be a period of time between then and when the Antichrist is revealed. And I'd say that is probably the most likely time that a rapture is going to take place. So I think you could say between, let's say, January 2029 to towards the end of 2029 is the period of time when we're most likely to see a rapture, or if in fact there is going to be a rapture. So it's going to happen in that time. But don't work on the basis that when the restrainer, Donald Trump, is removed, there's going to be a rapture. That's a warning to you. Be careful, be prepared, and just be ready that you're probably going to have to go through some time with this unleashing of the red horses, as we know, that are being restrained right now, and we're going to have to go through that period of time for a while. But just be mindful that you're going to have to do that. So just be prepared and ready, and make sure that you've got your salvation right. Don't go into that period beforehand, or go into that period without having that set up. That would be absolutely wrong. The other thing that, just another 7, and it's actually in the book, this one, is actually when Donald Trump was born, actually from that date of birth on the 14th of June 1946 to the formation of when Israel was formed by the United Nations, which is not exactly where we come from or support, but it did happen. It was on the 14th of May 1948. That was exactly 700 days from the time of Donald Trump's birth. So that in its own right is quite amazing. Just backing that up, if we do get into the 7th of June period from, let's say, 1967 on, there are many, many 7s that run through there. They're in the book, yes, and you'll see those. And I think they're much more significant because they tie in directly with his presidency and the book of Daniel. So I think that's actually pretty important too. But I'd suggest to read the book if you can. It's well worth it. There's a lot more going on in that book, and we're covering we're covering it now in this podcast as much as we can. But there's a lot more depth to it than what we can give in a podcast, and we really suggest that people do make the effort and do it, but also share it with your friends, or share these podcasts with your friends, because we've got to get this message out to people. Time is running short, and as we're into this final period before the 7 years, the final 7 years of Daniel come about, where it's 3.5 years to go now, Murray, it's getting shorter and shorter. People just need to get their acts together and wake up. This is a period where the restrainer is restraining. In our next podcast, we're going to address this fully, how the restrainer is working, and coming out with more definite proofs. These are really definite proofs. You can't get better than all these sevens. Just the probability of them being wrong or not divinely appointment, or Donald Trump's not divinely appointed, it's impossible.
And we've only given you a portion of them as well.
There's
lots more.
There's lots. There are a couple more there, Murray. I think you might like to do you want to just touch on a couple of the other ones what we haven't got in the book, but we're just raising now just to whet your appetite anyway.
On July the 7th, 2017, the first 7/7 of Trump's term, a total solar eclipse crossed the US. The first since 1776. Shame that wasn't 1777. Joel 2:31 ties eclipse to end times. And this 7th month, 7th day event signals judgment or reset. Daniel Decoded points to 2029 start. Trump's restrainer role nears its end. Seek salvation now. Seek salvation now.
Judgment is coming. That's what it's saying.
Really
Seven's all about judgment.
Yep.
I think that's all we need to say on this one, because we pretty much covered the sevens. But we want to get on to talk about Donald Trump, and it's going to be in our next podcast. And we want to just illustrate how he is the restrainer, because we want to just quash all the speculation round about that he is actually, the white horse is a deceptive white horse with a deceptive rider and is actually not doing the right thing. We want to quash that, and we're going to use the Bible to do it. We've already touched on it, but we want to do it much more. So look forward to seeing you in our next podcast.
Yep. And press like and subscribe, because we're not normal podcasters. We're doing something totally different here. We're very real and we're very honest, and we only go by the Bible. We don't make anything up. Follow us and you'll see biblical prophecy unfold in front of your eyes. And I mean biblical prophecy, not worldly prophecy, nothing made up. Everything comes from God when it comes out of our mouths, because we go by God's book, the King James Bible. Follow us, subscribe. Praise God.